Hey everyone, this is Jonah Johnson with you for another edition of JJ in the Field.
Hey guys, Jonah Johnson, Sales Agronomist with PCT Sunrise, and today we're down here in several of the river bottom counties in the deep south of Ohio, and we had some calls for concerns from growers, and actually I've had some concerns from growers all over Ohio saying they got some weird spots in their soybeans right now. And so obviously we have a beautiful day right on the threshold of some weather coming through, some more rain, so guys are scrambling to cut their soybeans. And so what we're seeing, they're starting to see black spots in their field. They're saying my beans got some spots, there's something erratic happening to the beans in just different places, and they weren't quite sure what it was. Other growers would say they got into these pockets and the yield was exceptionally low. Seed size was very, very small compared to some other locations in their field. And so I have some great aerial photography I'll include in this video as well to show that some spots from up by the road, the grower said, hey, I got these black spots, could you take a look? So we went down here today and looked at some of these spots, and so within this time of year, you can do some post-mortem diagnosis of diseases that you might have had and you didn't realize. And obviously we can't do anything about it, but if we can identify it, we can prepare for next year. And so some of the disease we're seeing, anthracnose, and I'll insert some pictures, but basically we're getting erratic black spots, lesions up the stem of the plant, and a lot of times when you shake those plants, the seeds shake like a baby's rattle. The other major disease we're seeing, and for the geography we have, it's pretty consistent, we've had it down here and we're aware about it, but is the diaporthe complex. And so we've talked about this over the last couple of years and kind of notified guys that maybe didn't know they've had this on their farms. And so we've seen this as far as north of just below Cleveland, and now we're down in the southwest corner of Ohio today. And so growers down here, we have a lot of continuous soybeans, so long-term, and a lot of times they have similar genetics that are planted year after year. And for varieties that have a weakness or the environment's very supportive of this disease, it keeps showing up in pockets. And so when we no-till, we can't change the corn because it gets wet down here, the season gets short and the guys keep with beans, and so that harbors the diaporthe complex. And so there's three portions of the diaporthe complex. We have our pod and stem blight, we have the stem canker, which I'll insert pictures, which on this plant it has it, and it's in this lower portion of the stem, and it looks like a reddish brown bruising to the plant. Then the third portion of the complex is phomopsis seed decay. And so if you've ever seen soybeans that are really wrinkly and white and chalky, most likely that's a diaporthe complex of that phomopsis seed decay. And so what can we do about these diseases? Well, a lot of times these can be managed and reduced in its severity by fungicide applications. And so you want to stick to the higher end fungicides that have the stronger triazole bases with those extended intervals. You know, like this past growing season in 2020, we've had a lot of rain, wet parts. We had some dry spells too, but in those rainy spots at timely fashion through the reproductive stage, it harbored a lot of this disease, not to mention it was in our residue on the ground right now. We can still see soybean stubble from the last 3 years below our feet. And so if you had used a fungicide, even a combination product, it may have had, it was a stable label type product, maybe not one of the newer ones. They don't have the strength, the horsepower to fight these pathogens. And so when you're looking at those, choose the newer fungicides with the longer residuals, the stronger, and use those higher use rates on those fungicides as well if you see this. It's hard to diagnose this early in the soybeans growth stage because we don't see it till later in the season. So we got to go back to our history and do these post-mortem diagnosis in these fields to identify these diseases, because it can be quite yield taxing. We've had growers down in this area that 10, 20 bushel beans, or normally in a lot of these areas they can grow 50, 60 bushel beans. So for that, this is Jonah Johnson with PCT Sunrise. Thanks for watching.